I was just working with one of our engineers, and I noticed this thing that engineers, developers, people do, but developers particularly do it when they're working with a chunk of code that maybe works, or it works but doesn't work. They can't figure out why it works, and it's messy, and 99% of the time, you know, my advice is rip it apart, break it, make it so it makes sense to you, and then make it work. And this is a very tall order to give people because they don't want to change too much because they don't really understand how it works in the first place. So let's talk about that. Now, before we talk about it, I just want to give you a little bit of an example. When I was a kid, I had this electric set, and you could make these LED, or you can make like an LED increment by one by pressing a button, but you had to like hook up like capacitors and fucking God knows what. I'm not going to pretend I remember any of this shit, but I used to, when I was a kid, I would like rip it apart, and I would keep hooking stuff up, and the amount that I learned, the rate of learning was amazing, because very quickly I could figure out how to wire that thing to do, well, increment by two, okay, I couldn't get it to fly or anything, but I figured out how things worked. And if you're trying to serve two masters, you're never going to keep either of them very happy, right? So if you're trying to keep something working while you're learning about it, you're not going to learn anything about it. And here's the thing. Code in and of itself is completely fucking worthless. I'll say it again. Code in and of itself is completely worthless. What is valuable is good code and good engineers who understand that code and know how to change it for the fact that, guess what? It's software. People expect that it's going to be able to change. And the faster that we can change the code to meet the requirements, that's literally what good engineers can do. That's what, if your engineering department can provide that for you, that's all you could ask. That's all you could ask. But we don't celebrate that. We don't demand that of engineers. What we demand is productivity. And productivity, while important, can be a death knell for creating a culture that will ensure that your engineers discipline themselves to not only understand code, but expect that if new code comes in, it should be understandable and it should be aligned with whatever practices we respect. You can't have that if you're constantly serving the other master of productivity. Now, this might sound like insane, something insane to say, because I'm basically saying like, fuck velocity, fuck your like shipping features. But the reality is that one of the things that's limiting many organizations is the ability to attract and retain great talent. Great talent doesn't stay somewhere where the culture sucks. And if all you care about is like, don't tell me how much like the last group of engineers fucking sucked, just get it done, you're never going to create that culture. You're never going to have that place where they come up with great ideas, because everyone is going to feel too afraid to actually figure out how things work. You're going to get a bunch of the emperor's new clothes problems where people just don't want to say they don't understand things because there's not this culture, there's no opportunity inside of the culture for learning. And all of these things are just completely antithetical to how you would create an organization that is self-healing, self-learning, and self-adapting, which is what you need, because it's so valuable. It's so much more important than just shipping one feature. Anyways.